I'm not gonna lie, C tier, high C tier, I guess. Um, I don't know any other way to say it, but they can be very boring at times. I'm not gonna lie, they're just gonna be very boring at times. They're the generic podcasts where men and women sit across the table and talk to each other, but there's nothing really about it. And I think that the problem is maybe the host or whatever, maybe he's concentrating on too many things. I don't think that he's too good at doing it alone. I think maybe he needs a co-host. It does better when he's when they're F tier. No, she's just not. I wouldn't tell anybody to follow her. She's not a good content creator. I would say she's a good content creator in how she knows how to use the YouTube algorithm and systems, but as in the male space, all she does is take other people's viewpoints and other people's thought process and regurgitates them into something that didn't really match what any of the person was saying. Like he steals a lot of stuff from
what you want, yeah. We just chilling by the Wawas, lemonade with the large fries. Puff twice for the calm high, hey, what you want, yeah. Big checks make the bank bounce. Old school candy paint down. Bad chicks, they from down south, hey, what you want, yeah.
Hello and welcome to my YouTube video and my YouTube channel. Today you see a title. We're going to be doing a tier list of male Manosphere content creators. Just a few. I can't watch every single male content creator or anyone in the male space in general. I can't watch them all. I can't watch them all. But like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, if you guys agree with some of the stuff I'm going to put here, you can put it down in the comments, or if you don't agree, you can put it down into the comments, which I'm sure you're already going to do. I know this tier list is going to get me in trouble, but it's whatever. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. If you agree or disagree, and tell me why. But yeah, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to list these things here. I'm going to list some of these content creators here. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I put them, where I put them. And just remember, this is my list, my opinion. If you guys like any of these content creators or any of these people, and I happen to put them low, you know, all to you. You know, it's okay if we just have different tastes. That's all. But yeah, enough talking. Let's get right into this. So the first one is Steph is cold. Steph is cold. Steph is cold. I'm going to put him. I am going to put him. I think I'm gonna put him B tier for now. I'm gonna put him right here in the middle for now, because I feel like he's like a nice base where we can start. You know, I feel like Steph is cold is one of those like introductory like male content creator spaces, like where if you were going to look and search for like male content, like he would be one of the faces that would pop up. I feel like he was one of the faces I would see around very often and around the content and stuff, you know, around the RP content and things like that. And yeah, I feel like he does some good reactions and stuff and everything, but I do feel like what puts him down a bit is I want to see him go out of his comfort zone, and I want to see him do like things out in public and stuff, like go out into the field and things, and not always be behind a computer screen. If he does that, then, you know, you can let me know in the comments or anything, but I haven't watched him too much as of late, so he could be doing that. But as far as what I've seen, I haven't seen him doing that. So for now, we're going to put him there. All right, on to the next one. So we have mediocre tutorials and reviews, MTR. MTR is I would say in this space, I think he's a good content creator, and he's one of the reaction channels, but he's also one of the first few channels that did like the whole dynamic where they sit down and talk with a woman and try to show them the things that are going on in the space from the male perspective. And I like that. That's kind of how I found out about his channel, where he would just bring a girl on and he would sit there and talk to the girl about certain issues. Maybe they'll review a video and such things like that. I think that is very important to see the female perspective, and also see how a lot of these content creators just act around women in their own space and things like that. Because my problem with a lot of male content creators is that you don't ever see them talk to women, be around women. You don't know if they're comfortable around women. Like you don't see a lot of videos with that, and I think that's maybe my critique with Steph is cold. He could be very comfortable with women. I believe he is, or whatever, but we don't see enough of that, or whatever. So I'm actually going to put MTR here because of that. Yeah, I think I'm going to put him there. I might bump some of these up or down depending on who else is on the list, but for now, you know what? Actually, because I'm going to move him up just a bit, I'm going to move him up here to A tier, because I think that because of the dynamic where he does sit down and talk to women is a good thing. And I like the way that he articulates himself. I think if you listen to a lot of the things that he says, I think it will help men. Just the same as for Steph is Cold, but I think Steph is Cold has to evolve his content just a bit much so it could reach men in different ways and just reacting to videos and just giving your 2 cents about things. We want to see these people out in the field. And also with MTR, I want to see him do more of those videos with the woman. That's what drawn me to his channel and everything. So I do think he's, out of all the content creators who do the reaction content off of like female and male dynamics in the dating market, I think that MTR does it well. I just want to see more of the simple thing of him sitting down talking with women. I think he shines like that. And also just go out into the field, maybe do street interviews and things like that. I think he could do it if he tried. Also, same thing with Steph is Cold, but I think that MTR has just a little bit more to offer than Steph is Cold. So I would say low A tier for MTR for now. Yeah. And on to the next one. Daily Wrap-Up Crew. Daily Wrap-Up Crew. I'm going to put Daily Wrap-Up Crew. I'm going to put Daily Wrap-Up Crew. I'm going to put Daily Wrap-Up Crew an A tier. High A tier. They do the male, they do the whole podcast thing with women and men. And like I said, I think that is very important for men to see in, you know, the dynamics between men and women and seeing their perspective, also seeing the female perspective too. I think they do it well. And also they do it very respectful to the women and everything. I think you can have these conversations and these disagreements with men and women. And I think it could be very cordial. And although it can be passionate and stuff, I think it can be very respectful, very cordial. And I think they do that well. Even though, admittedly, sometimes I do think there have been a couple times where I think the women have gotten too rowdy. I'm like, yeah, I think I should kick them out. But, you know, I don't think that's the type of audience they're trying to attract. And I don't think that's the type of traction they're trying to pull with kicking the woman out. That's not what they want to do. They want to be as respectful to the woman as possible. And I respect that. I do respect that, you know, and I'm glad that they went that route, even though, in my opinion, I think there was sometimes it would have been warranted for them to kick some of the girls out or like, but nevertheless, I think that they are high A tier. My only critique of them, I think that they do things well. They go out into, they go out into the field and do these public talks and stuff and ask questions like that with the Ace Talks thing. They have content behind the scenes and things like that. They have lives. I don't know if they do Instagram lives. Also, I noticed that MTR does Instagram lives a lot now too. So that's why another plus for him. But yeah, they do lives. They do the whole podcasting and invite different types of girls on, different types of women and everything like that. So yeah, and they articulate themselves very well. I really like this channel. I really do. My only critique of it is that I wish they would upload more. That's pretty much my only critique in that. So if not for that, I would say they would actually be bumped up to S tier. But for now, I would give them high A tier. Okay, on to the next one. Alexander Grace. I'm going to put Alexander Grace. This is a hard one for me, actually. I'm going to put Alexander Grace S tier. We got our first S tier ranking. I'm going to put him S tier right now. Whatever. Because although he doesn't do the podcast thing, he does sit down every occasionally and talk to girls and things. And I think he gives an analysis of the woman and male dynamics from a psychological point of view, because he is I believe he is a psychologist. Somebody could correct me in the comments. But yeah, I like how he articulates things. And although he is in the male space, he's not coming from one of those things where it's like you put a woman down or anything, or it's just male versus woman. It's just like, no, he's trying to be fair. He's very fair on both sides and everything like that. You know, I think that he gives a very good perspective of how to do things and not just the typical get girls and just sleep with women type of thing. I think if men were to watch his channel, they would get a very positive outlook on men and how they should be, and also on how to handle women, and also on the perspective that, you know, men aren't always right in these scenarios too. You know, not saying that these other two content creators don't do it either, or any of the content creators below do it any other way, but I just think that he does it the best and comes up with data and things to support it. I think that his is more informational. You learn a lot with statistics and things, and you know, just from the psychological point of view, I think that he does it very well. So I'm going to keep Alexander Grace here in S tier. Depending on who's next, I might move him lower. All right. So next, Abba and Preach. Okay. Now, to be fair, Abba and Preach isn't necessarily like a Manosphere, like wouldn't fit into the same space as all of these content creators. Though I feel like earlier on they did start out like that. I feel like they kind of pivoted and they're more broad onto everything, not just talking about men and women. They talk about a lot of different things, just to be fair. So, but I like Abba Preach, but I'm going to put them in B tier. And I like what they do. I like the messaging, and I agree with a lot of the things that they say. Sometimes I disagree, and that's okay. That's just a difference in opinion. There's a lot of things I disagree with all these channels I put up here, to be honest. But yeah, with Abba and Preach, I would say I want, just like I said about these other content creators or whatever, I feel like they kind of roll with the if it ain't broke, don't fix it concept. They have the same simple setup, and that's all right having the same simple setup. But I want to see them go out of their comfort zone. I've seen them go on some other podcasts and do some talks and things like that, and do things like that. And I like when I see them go and try to do new stuff. But other than that, I agree with a lot of the stuff they say. I like their channel. They're very funny, very comedic. And yeah, I just wanted to see a bit more from them. Like, I believe they had like a podcast that they started, like a Abba versus Preach thing. Like, I want to see them start something like that. And I know maybe they might be busy or whatever, but yeah, I feel like a lot of men, if they follow, like if they watch his channel, I think they'll give a positive and fair outlook onto like men and women and things like that. But I just want to see them do a bit more, whether that be with their setup, going out doing more, going on to more podcasts or collaborating and stuff like that. But they do upload pretty frequently, and yeah, that's just my critique of them. I think they could do a bit more. Okay, but on to the next one. We have Wheat Waffles. Wheat Waffles. Now, Wheat Waffles, he's into the B pill. I'm not going to say the whole word, but I'm going to put it on screen. But yeah, he's more into that space. Me particularly, I don't like the B pill. I don't like the concept of it. It just comes from a defeaters, I give up mindset. I don't really like it, to be honest. Like, even with RP, whatever, you can critique it very heavily, but at least it gives men a lot more motivation and things to not be like the high value man and stuff that they always preach, but just be a better man, even if they don't reach that goal of a high value man. One thing that B pill does well is it sets men in reality and tells men the reality of how the world is, and like you're giving them a perspective of how things are, like physically, like how physically you look, how far can you get physically. Like if your looks aren't on par with certain things, then you can only get so far, which I do agree with. I think that there's an aspect of the B pill that is very important, but the aspects of it I don't like, just as with RP too. But that being said, I keep going on and on. I'm putting Wheat Waffles S tier, even though I don't like the space that he's in. I would say he's probably the best content creator, though admittedly I haven't seen many content creators in that space. So, but as far as the little I've seen, I think that he's the best person in that space, and he uses data, statistics, and he's not afraid to go out of his comfort zone, do street interviews, do different things and shake it up or whatever. He's more of an educational purpose. That's why I put these guys in the S tier. They're more educational purposes. Like, you will learn something from these two, even if you like just watch the videos they have available on YouTube, or you buy some of their content. I did actually do the face rating thing with Wheat Waffles, which was very informative or whatever. And no matter what it would have gotten or whatever, I think that no matter what rating he gave me or whatever, I still would have found out that it was educational to see like the different perspective of how you break down like just the facial structure of what makes a person attractive and things like that. I think that these two channels are very educational. I think that men can watch them and extrapolate certain things from their channel and get something good out of it. So that's why these two are S tier. And I do think MTR is also educational too, but I just think that these two just do it better, and admittedly. But yeah, let's go on to the next one. O'Shea Duke Jackson. Now, I gotta say one thing is O'Shea does a lot. I mean, he uploads a lot. I don't know how him and his team do it. Shout out to that guy. He is a hard-working mother effer. I'm just appalled at like how much content this guy can put out a day. And I would say like he's more of an informational channel. I feel like he's more of like a news thing, but he gives us like his 2 cents about like what's going on in like the black community, dating dynamics and things like that. He's probably one of the OGs in this space, I would say. He's definitely one of the OGs. He's been uploading content like crazy. He has other channels. He does do the interviews and things like that. What I do want to see from O'Shea is I know he probably doesn't do this, and I know a lot of content creators don't like to collaborate and things like that. I'm going to put O'Shea. I'm gonna put O'Shea. I'm gonna put O'Shea right here, in A tier, because I would put him higher, but my critique of him is that he uploads very frequently, but some of the content that he uploads is kind of repeated content that I feel like is like unnecessary. Like I feel like he focuses just a bit more on quantity over quality, and I think that some videos are unnecessary, and he just uploads them just to make sure the algorithm is going. But yeah, other than that, I like his content. Some stuff I don't agree with, but I think he's up there. I think he's definitely one of those channels you want to keep up to date with if you're in the space. And yeah, I'm gonna put O'Shea right up there. Yeah, and then like I said, he works very hard and everything, but I want to see him go on other podcasts, collaborate with other people. I want to see his, see him out more. That's what I want to see. I want to see these content creators out more. Even me, I got to get out more too. Shoot, I want to get out more too and do more of the interviews with the ladies and everything like that. I actually like doing those interviews and things like that. So yeah, for now, we're going to leave him A tier, mid A tier. Okay. It's complicated. I gotta tell you guys, I love this channel. It's complicated. One of my favorite YouTube channels. And also, I gotta tell you guys, doing anything live, well, he doesn't do it live, but doing anything in public, just going out in the street all the time, that's pretty much what his content is. He's going out doing this all the time for videos. Doing street interviews or in the public interviews are very, very hard and also very unpredictable. You don't know what people are going to do. You don't know how things are going to go. So it's very hard to do a channel like It's Complicated. And also, I think that is unique. A lot of his questions that he says to these women, you can see used throughout all of these channels, most of these channels, if not all of these channels, and a lot of other channels in the content creation space. I think he's a very unique channel that is very unique. But I also think that, he does need to switch it up. I did see him go on the Whatever podcast, which I like. I like the Whatever. Well, whatever's okay. I should have put Whatever over here. Maybe I could put Whatever. Yeah, maybe Complicated. I want to see him go on like more interviews because his questions are very unique. I like the way he asks questions. I like the way that he articulates himself and everything. And just, he doesn't even really says his 2 cents. He just gets it from other people, and you can make you can come to your own conclusion from there. I think that his channel is very unique, which is why I'm going to put him A tier also, because he would be S tier. It's Complicated would be S tier, but you don't want to turn into like a one-trick pony and things like that. I do think that, you'll learn some things, like you'll learn what the general public thinks about woman and male and female dynamics through this channel, out into the real world, out into the public, because I think people get too caught up into the internet and they don't know what's going on and how people feel out in the real world. And I think that this is a refreshing channel, in my opinion, but I want them to do something different, switch it up and things like that. Go on more podcasts could be the first thing he could do. I think he did very well when he featured on the Whatever podcast. So yeah, I want to see him do that. Okay. Well, we actually added Whatever podcast. I just remembered that. So just going off of that, Whatever podcast, I'm not gonna lie, C tier, high C tier, I guess. I don't know any other way to say it, but they can be very boring at times. I'm not gonna lie, they're just gonna be very boring at times. They're the generic podcasts where men and women sit across the table and talk to each other, but there's nothing really about it. And I think that the problem is maybe the host or whatever, maybe he's concentrating on too many things. I don't think that he's too good at doing it alone. I think maybe he needs a co-host. It does better when he's when there's a co-host. It does better depending on what guest is on the show. That's where Whatever podcast shine, is when there's a certain guest on the show. They have certain highlights and things like that. It really depends on what guest is on the show. I just think they're okay, to be honest. There's nothing really, it really depends on who they invite. So that's why I can't really put them high. Although they have a nice setup and things like that, I can't really put them higher than C tier because it's just like I said, it depends on what guest. And you can actually see it when you see some of their podcasts and their guest has to leave early, like the quality of the show just plummets. So I'm going to have to put Whatever in C tier. I might move them up to low B tier, but we'll just leave them in C tier for now. Now, next one, Kevin Samuels. We're gonna put him S tier. We're putting him even above Wheat Waffles. Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. There are still videos of him you can watch till today that just the average man can watch, and it can help them improve themselves. He has plenty of videos that can help men improve themselves, and he has many videos that can help women improve themselves too. Now, very controversial man. I think that my critique of him that is that he could be harsh at times, but I think that it was coming from a place of like tough love. I think that he genuinely wanted to help men and women out. I think that he genuinely wanted to do that, and I like the content that he was doing. I agreed with a lot of the points that he was saying, and I think that in terms of the male space itself, he kind of shook it around. He was probably, out of all these content creators, why I have to put him number one, he's probably the closest to going mainstream and being successful at it. And also I think that his content does help men and women, once you get past his tone, whatever, which I don't really have a problem with his tone too much. Sometimes he could be harsh, but I think he was doing a service, to be honest. I think he needed to, in a climate that men and women were in, I think he needed to be harsh. And a lot of people don't know that he talked to men for 2+ years before he started talking to women, and he was way worse with the men than he was with the women. But I think that when women started to watch his channel, they would get triggered at first, of course, but then once they got into his content, understood what he was saying and the intent behind it, they understood, all right, this guy might be right. What his channel does, whatever, and although these are educational channels too, his is also educational, but what it did, I would say, is it put a mirror on women to help them reflect. Like, men get the mirror put back on them very often, to where it's like, you got to improve yourselves, and we just end up doing it. We improve ourselves, or we just end up being losers, and that's that. Nobody cares. But it put a mirror on women to see the unflattering realities of what female natures do, how female nature can be, and just to help women improve themselves and just be a better version of themselves and be better for men. I think that he wasn't like against men or women. I think he just wanted both sides to have a good deal, and he was doing his best to try to do that in his own way. I think that he's S tier. If you guys, very controversial guy, but I think that he deserves that number one spot, and I'm going to keep him there. All right, next, another controversial man, Andrew Tate. Okay, I'm putting Andrew Tate C tier. And just because of that, I gotta move whatever podcast up, because he's not he's not at Andrew Tate level. Okay, so Andrew Tate, I know a lot of Andrew Tate dick riders are gonna come after me. That's okay, but he says he does say a lot of stuff that is right. Like, I did the video with XQC, where he was talking about if an intruder comes in the house, who goes downstairs and stuff. He was completely right in that video, and I think that's why he's gone viral. We live in an era where there's an attack on masculinity. There's it's not good to be a man. It's not good to like be masculine. Masculinity is toxic and stuff. And I think he came in the right time, to where Kevin Samuels, who dominated the space, had passed on, and there was a void, and he was already popular during that time, but he kind of took over that void even more so then, when there needed to be a male figure in the space that I think men and young men wanted to listen to. But I don't think that he's a positive voice for young men and young women in the space, because he says a lot of things that is just like, what the hell, you don't. I think that if you go on a far-sighted end, like these guys, educational, these guys, you will get something from it, whether it be information or things like that, or just how things are in the real world and things like that and stuff, or you'll even get comedic purposes and things like that from these podcasts. I think he just says stuff, just like whatever's going to benefit him at the time, he'll say it, and like I said, I think that he just came at the right time when there was a void. But I would never tell any men to go follow this guy. But the reason he's not in F tier is because at least he has his own mindset and his own thought process, other than unlike the next person on our list, just Pearly Things F tier. No, she's just not. I wouldn't tell anybody to follow her. She's not a good content creator. I would say she's a good content creator in how she knows how to use the YouTube algorithm and systems, but as in the male space, all he does is take other people's viewpoints and other people's thought process and regurgitates them into something that didn't really match what any of the person was saying. Like, he steals a lot of stuff from Kevin Samuels and rephrases it in a way that it wasn't supposed to be rephrased in, or he'll take stuff from its complicated questions and pose it in a not in a way it was supposed to be posed. I just think that she doesn't make her own original content, unlike whatever podcast. they're very bland. They're very bland, but at least they do have some things where, depending on what guests they invite on, they'll have something to say. Like even even the host, although he doesn't he may not be able to host a show as well as maybe some of these other creators on here, and sometimes it may get boring and stuff like that. He does have his own thought process to where he has his own ways and things that he will go against the grain for because he just doesn't agree with them. Although I may not agree with them or whatever, he has his own mindset, is what I'm saying. Even Andrew Tate has his own mindset. She just kind of follows everything that every other male content creators like doing. Like if they go that way, she goes that way. If they go that way, she's going that way. All the way to the far extreme to where it just doesn't work. Like as if you're going to be in this space as a woman, I feel like you need to bring things from a woman's perspective. And I don't think she has the experience to do that. And also, I don't think she has anything new in the space to do that. I think if you're going to be a woman in this thing, you don't just need to do and say what all the other male creators say just to be in a space. I think you need to do something from a female's perspective. And I don't think she can. But yeah, let's go on. On to the next one. Fresh and Fit. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I used to like Fresh and Fit. I don't like them anymore. I'm gonna just be honest. I don't like their channel anymore. I think that this is like, you see how Abba and Preach is the example of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Fresh and Fit is an example of having all the right tools, all the right formula, and just doing it wrong. Like these guys, they've been flip-flopping with the things that they do. They don't match with the things that they preach. Yeah, and just some of the things, especially with the guy Myron, like are very extreme versions of like, I guess, masculinity and like on the side of like just being like just, I don't know. I said this in my video when I was talking about RP content or whatever, and I was saying I don't want the space. I think that the RP content in male space is still important, although the RP is on a decline. I don't want it to turn into basically the male version of I don't want it to turn into the male version of how can I say it? Like an extreme feminist. Like I don't want it to like, because that's what I see in them, just a male counterpart. That's what I see in them sometimes in Fresh and Fit. And just the stuff they've been doing lately has just been stupid. I won't put them in F tier because they're not Pearly Things bad. And Andrew Tate, I can put them, as much as I don't like them, whatever, I'm not going to be a hater. I do think that I would put them, that's right next to Ab and Preach. I would put them mid B tier. And here's why. Man, remember, this is coming from a person that doesn't like them. I think that there's some things that you can take out of their content that would be helpful for men. And like they have like their money thing and stuff. I do think that some of Myron's talking points are valid. And I also do, they do have like a workout program, which actually, if you follow it, would help men. But they have a lot of content that I think is detrimental. Yes, detrimental to men. Like if you are a younger man and this is the first like content you step upon and you believe everything they say for how it goes, I don't think that guy would be I don't think he would be a good guy in the dating market. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think he would treat women well. I don't think he would be very good in the dating dynamic. Maybe he might get girls and things like that. Maybe his finances might be well, but would he be a good husband or would he be a good man to women? Not that. I think that's just the message that I would want in my channel. And that's the message that I would want men to spread out into the channel, not to have this adversarial thing between men and women, which I think is what they do. They have this very adversarial thing of men against women when like they make it seem like women are just fucking evil. Like if you just watch this channel and go over everything you see in this channel, you would think women are fucking evil. And just a lot of the messages I don't like, and I don't like how they go about certain things. But what picks them up is they're learning things. Like they do have stuff that you can learn from. Like if you're an adult and you have the mindset to think with your own, I think you can take some good things out of their content and get something out of it. Whereas a whatever podcast is just there for entertainment. You're not going to get anything out of it. Steph is cold. I think you can get some things out of it, but I think he's lacking in the department where you sit down and talk to women. And yeah, I think you can get something out of it, but I wouldn't personally like recommend them. But I can't put them down all the way with him and her because I do think that they do some things better than the content creators before them. And just like with Ab and Preach, I like their messaging, but I do think that they could do more things in the space. I do think that they could do more things in the space. Abba, yeah. So I feel like they're both like missing things from each other. Like, but yeah, I don't like this content creator, but that's where I'm going to put him as an unbiased opinion. I'm being unbiased as possible. I think that these guys, when you go up to, like, when you go from Abba and Preach on, I think these guys are more of a positive view for male content creators that can do well in the space and can teach you something that doesn't that isn't disrespectful to women, and it teaches you to hold character and hold frame and stuff, and teaches you different dynamics or whatever it might be. I think that I could recommend a young man to watch these channels over these channels, I would say. Well, I would recommend Steph is Cold more than Thing, but still, like, yeah, I'm fine with this. Okay, let's just go on to the next one. Sneeko, F tier. F tier. I don't really think it matters which order in F tier, and since they're both in F tier, I guess I'll put him above Pearly Things. And he has the problem opposite from Pearly Things. Well, Pearly Thing doesn't have really like, always follows everything that other male content creators do. He kind of does that, but Sneeko doesn't really have an identity. Like, he doesn't know what he is or where he is. Like, I feel like I don't know. I think that Sneeko's trying to find himself. He still hasn't found himself. He's still flip-flopping in certain ideals and stuff that he's doing, and I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that he says. So much of the stuff that he says. I think where he shined before is where he did his I think it was his 1 minute podcast where he did it at West 4th train station and stuff. I think that's where his content shined. Not where he talked, because he don't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's where he would let other people talk and you would see the perspective of other people, like how It's Complicated does, or whatever. Although I think It's Complicated does it a bit better. I think that's where Sneeko shined, and I think maybe he needs to go back to that instead of these podcasts screaming at the screen or whatever. Maybe he's not doing that now. I don't know. It seems like he's maturing, but you don't know. You got Sneeko one day and it'll be a different Sneeko the next. I used to like Sneeko. I don't know what's gotten into that guy, but I know it is. He's just young. Like I said, he's trying to find himself, you know, and I think that's understandable for somebody that's young. Not that I'm much older than him. I'm older than him, but not like crazy older than him, but I think there are young people that are mature that you can follow, that give like a good message and teaching and can teach you something. I just don't think that Sneeko is one of them. I think he shows his immaturity very clearly. Okay. And now on to the last one. Melly Minako. Now, I am going to put Melly Minako. I'm going to put her high A tier, actually. I'm going to put her high A tier. And here's why. I think that she does what just Pearly Things was supposed to do. I think she does what just Pearly Things was supposed to do. She is in the male space, but she gives advice and then tells you from a female perspective, from her experience dating, how she thinks of things. When guys do things, this is how it is. This is what a girl might think. This is how a girl might react. Whatever. She gives it from a male space, and she tells you very raw, don't do that shit, or you should do that shit. Whatever. And I like that she goes on podcasts. You can see her around collaborating with other people, like I think she collaborated with MTR and things like that. Like, that's good. You want to see the feminine side, or the female side, and the thought process behind how these male and female dynamics are. And Pearly Things just doesn't do that. And I don't think she even has the experience to do it neither. I think that Melly Minako tells stories and stuff of like stuff that she's been through, or guys that she might have been with, and just how to, like, the raw thing of how to be like attractive to a woman, or just do things from the woman's perspective in a raw way, not no bullshit way, like, oh, just be yourself, or oh, just be nice. Like, some real shit of things like she personally and other women would find attractive, you know. And I think that is very, very important in the space. And I also like that she does her Pineapple show and stuff, where she gets men out to talk. Basically, if anything, she gives men the chance to go and talk to women. And if anything, it could be practice. You could go up there, you know, shoot your shot. Who knows? Maybe I might go up there, see how I do. But yeah, I like what she does as a female content creator in this space. Only thing I could take away from her, she uploads very frequently. She's a very hardworking content creator. Not to say that any of the people behind her aren't. But yeah, I think that she's content creators like her are very important to the space. That if you're going to be in the male space, I think that's how you do it. One of my critiques I would say is sometimes I do think that she panders to the men sometimes, however, not all the time. Sometimes I do think that she panders to the men, whatever. And yeah, that would probably be my only critique and everything. But yeah, I think that she's good in the male space. So yeah, that is my tier list. This is how it turned out, and I think I am okay with where I've placed all of these. Now, like I said, I can't watch all of the content creators I made. If this video does well, I'll do a part 2. I'll put more content creators. I'll watch some that you guys recommend and give my 2 cents and see where I'll put them on here. But yeah, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And yeah, BQ quick review. Nah, we do.
Pick up the pieces and patches, I gotta be, cause the edges are jagged. I do not call my piece lessons with real beef, they be squeezing them ratchets. You not the same person that you on internet, I've been smelling some catfish. Don't condone violence, cause we move in silence, you know that they got it like Metal Gear Solid. Pick up the pieces and patches, I gotta be, cause the edges are jagged. I do not call my piece lessons with real beef, they be squeezing them ratchets. You not the same person that you on internet, I've been smelling some catfish. Don't condone violence, cause we move in silence, you know that they got it like Metal Gear Solid.